for staying with us. Well, the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board has shown support for persons living with disabilities ahead of the 2024-2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation exam. Announced that persons living with disability who wish to sit for the 2024-2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation exam can register at no cost. The JAMB Registrar, Ishaq Oloyede, revealed this while rolling out the registration process for interested candidates across the country. He said that JAMB will issue free application documents to all categories of persons living with disability as a form of support. He also disclosed that measures have been put in place to ensure a smooth exercise for all candidates, and said audiobooks will now be provided for all blind candidates. Well, joining us via Zoom from the United States of America is the CEO and founder, TAF Africa, and convener, Disability Inclusion Nigeria, Jake Ekpele. Mr. Jake, good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning, and we are on TVC Breakfast, and I expected to see breakfast on your table.
No, that will be after the show.
That's it.
No. Well, the breakfast that you serve us is information, and that's the richest breakfast.
Right. Right. Now, let's quickly touch on something interesting, some sort of breakfast that have been given to persons living with disability, as it is by Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, waiving of the cost for the forms. I wonder how this comes to you, what your reaction is by this move.
Okay, I like the word response rather than reactions, but that's okay. My response is overwhelming,
right.
Filled with joy. This is what I have personally, with others, been advocating for. And, you know, as a Christian, the scripture says, it says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but when a dream comes true, is a tree of life. So this is a dream come true for me and several others who have been advocating for this kind of development in the education sector. You know, there's a saying that the best thing you can give to a man is education.
Right.
And so when a man or a woman is given education, it's a pathway to success. And when you're successful, one of the dividends of success is having money. And, well, it's said that the color of money does not discriminate. And so to stop things like the maladies like discrimination, education is a panacea. And so this is a welcome development for the community of persons with disability. Unfortunately, there was a mix-up in Prof's schedule, and I will reach out to my friend Babajide and the family of TVC to host Prof on Monday so that you can hear from the horse's mouth. So, unfortunately, we're doing back-to-back with another channel. So he's in another channel that I'll be rounding up from yours and running to. And so it's a welcome development for the community of persons with disability. Now, our brothers and sisters can actually register for this examination. And wherever you register, please make sure you collect your receipt, including the money you pay to whether it's a business center, whatever, and whoever helped you to do that registration. Get a receipt. You will send in that receipt, and I stand here to say that I guarantee that JAMB will refund you every cent. I'm not just speaking as Jake, I'm speaking as a member of the JAMB Equal Opportunity Group, which is the committee that have been responsible for organizing these exams and ensuring the smooth running of it. Of course, endorsed and initiated by Professor Oloyede, whom I describe as a champion of disability inclusion. This is a very robust rollout plan, because not only our communities catered for just at registration point, they pay for their transportation to a designated hotel. They are fed and ferried to the examination center. I am one of the vigilators in Abuja, and while everything that they need is provided for at the examination center, they are well catered for at the examination center. The vigilators, some individuals like me, are there to guide them on what to do, what not to do. They're very friendly, they're very accommodating. The impression, the whole essence, is to see the students pass their exam, but in the most legit way. So every due process is followed, respecting their dignity and their need in the most honorable way.
Okay, so you've mentioned, I was asking about the modality, but you actually talked about that and the fact that people living with disabilities will have to pay but get the receipt and present to JAMB. But how are they going to do that? And for context, people living with disabilities it's not just blind people, but also people with living with Down syndrome, autism, dyslexia disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, amongst others.
Albinism.
Yes. So how I'm concerned about the bottlenecks that are associated with all of this, because a lot of these guys, these people living with disabilities, stay quite in very far distant areas, especially in Lagos and other states. How would do they have to go to JAMB offices in those states or the local governments to get their monies from?
Well, you know, the logistics are well thought out and planned, and the execution has been seamless, because we don't know where every one of them are. And JAMB has designated centers and of course, business centers that will, from time to time, assist a would-be candidate, you know, and candidates to fill out the forms and all that. So there's no way you will be able to know exactly where everybody is. And that's why we're embarking on this promotion. Yes, granted, it can be said that there are people that don't have televisions and radio and all that. But so we're going beyond the mainstream media and the social media to engage traditional rulers, faith-based leaders, word of mouth, you know, engaging the community directly. So we say to you, look, if you have a person with disability in your family, please give them this information, you know, let them do this. Yes, I know that there are some people that, you know, it'll be difficult for them to sometimes have money to do all of that. But think of it, if JAMB did not provide this, anyone who wants to go to school will still rally around and get some form of assistance from family members and go for this registration. But we are now saying that, listen, no matter how you got the money, you know, how you tried, once you do that registration and show proof of that registration, evidence by receipt, including how much you paid to have access to computer or internet, get all that, put it together, go to the nearest JAMB, and they will treat you. You know, you will get a refund of your money.
Right. I am wondering if this is happening across the 36 states of and the Federal Capital Territory as it is, such that these centers are easily accessible. What is the spread of these centers? Is it going to be special for these persons, or we are going to have them embedded alongside every other person to write their examination?
That's a very intelligent question, and I think you should be called the disability inclusion champion. The centers started out, I think the number was about 11, but now it's gone beyond that. Every center is accessible, whether it is mobility, accessibility, or provision of brailles and magnifying glasses and whatever that makes it conducive for the candidate to participate, they are adequately provided for. And I'm saying that as a member of the community and a member of the committee. There are three other members from the community of persons with disability. The president of JAMB, the president of the Nigerian Association of the Blind, the former president of the Deaf Association of Nigeria. So these are the category of people that represents their people, that takes information to them and ensure that provisions are adequately made for the people to enjoy the privileges and the reasonable accommodation that JAMB is providing. So it is a very robust system and processes and provision that I can guarantee you every candidate have always been giving the attention that he or she requires. It is adaptive because we take into consideration every need of every candidate. So it is wholly inclusive, but designated for persons with disability because of the challenges of trying to integrate them in the mainstream examination hall because, for instance, the mainstream examination hall are timed, they are structured in such a way that a person with disability will not be able to function in that environment adequately. Let me give you an instance. For instance, my community, persons with albinism and other visually impaired, globally, it's a global norm that you're giving what they call a time and a half. That means if an examination is for 1 hour, a time and a half concept, having that you will do that exam for 1 hour, 30 minutes. So extra time, is given to that individual. So that is what happens in centers like that. For someone with albinism who probably don't have access to large print material or large screen systems, they are given extra time to compensate for their inability to effectively use their eyes. It takes me, it might probably take you like a second or two to read from beginning from left to right of a sentence. Now it would take me like almost 15 seconds to do the same reading that you would do in 2-3 seconds. And so it requires that extra time be given to individuals like us. And like I said, the information is cascaded to the grassroots. One of the things you asked was whether it's going to be, it's nationwide. Absolutely 774 local governments are engaged. Some of us are reaching out to these local government chairmen and secretariats to help us in disseminating this information. I've spoken to two prominent traditional rulers, the King Jaja of Opobo, who is my king, I've spoken to the Sultan of Sokoto, who is a very good friend and a friend of the community. And we're still engaging more and more people. I want to talk to the Olu of Wari, I want to talk to Odi of Ife, I want to talk to Oba of Lagos, everyone that we can reach. I've reached some Christian leaders like Bishop Michael Kokwo, Paul Adeferasi, and several others that we're trying to reach on a day-to-day basis. So it's a very, very strategic investment in advocacy. We've been through virtually all the big networks, and everyone had opened their space and given us the opportunity to disseminate this information. I want to take our time to thank the management of TVC. You have always been there for the community of persons with disability. You're truly inclusive.
Well, thank you very much, of course. But my concern and question is that give us a hint or plans of JAMB to ensure that these candidates are not posted far from their locations to help them.
Yeah, like I said, it's very strategic and well structured. Don't forget that the committee, which I belong, we meet literally every other week throughout the year. And that ably led by Professor Okobukola, who is very passionate, plus other not less than 40 professors in various fields of endeavor, but with experience around issues around disability inclusion. And so we interrogate every system, and every system is designed to adaptably, so that once it's not working, we make a change. It is a very, very, very practical system that responds to the trends and the needs as it may. So we do take into consideration every suggestion, every decision, and make it seamlessly and accommodating for persons with disability. So yes, that will be my take.
Now, I see that you are trying to reach out to a number of persons to ensure that as many people who can take advantage of this can take advantage of it, especially persons within this community of persons living with disability. I'm wondering if there's no limit to the number of persons who should take advantage of this JAMB's largesse, so to speak.
It is unlimited. JAMB is very ready, and that's why I would strongly suggest that you make sure that we get hold of Professor Oloyede. I will personally give him a call. I think there was a mix-up in the schedule, and I take responsibility for that, you know. But I'll personally reach out to him and get him ready. JAMB is very, very, very prepared. Don't forget that JAMB is one of the institutions that would conduct her business and make a huge refund to the federal government. You know, it's one of the institutions that returns money to the federal government and said, listen, we have more than enough. So they do have enough resources, human and material, to handle the number of persons with disability that shows up. Now, JAMB is not only interested in conducting this examination, they're also interested in the admission. So they go from the examination to admission. And so once they are done with the examination, they collate and screen those who made it, those who passed, and will make sure that the universities and polytechnics and the higher institution of their choice, they are truly admitted. I've seen Professor Oloyede personally getting on the phone, making contact with some of these vice chancellors. Don't forget that a few months ago we had a very huge, and the first of its kind, a very huge conference that brought together, I have never seen the number of vice chancellors that gathered in one room in one conference. And that conference was able to bring virtually all the vice chancellors and former ministers of education and those who are currently serving. And we had a very robust engagement and looked at all the options on the table to ensure the success of this. And this year we are hosting, because this is a novelty, it's first of its kind in the continent. So we're hosting a continental conference to see how other countries can borrow a leaf from JAMB and replicate what we're doing and what we're doing well.
All right, so in all of this now, what's the future plan? Is this going to just be for now? What plans do we have for people living with disabilities as regards to education and exam writing?
Oh, fantastic. You're talking about sustainability. As a principal, I never get involved in anything that is not sustainable, including the projects that I run in our organization. Sometimes we engage the funding partner and say, look, what happens if your project or your funding comes to an end? If I can't continue this project, then it's not something that we want to go into. So sustainability is first on everything that we do. And I've seen the same thing with JAMB. For instance, the committee through JAMB had gone to National Education Council, NCE, National Council for Education, and documented these processes, documented this as a policy, as a response mechanism. And that means if Professor Oloyede is no longer in JAMB today, anybody who is coming can continue, with this policy because it works, So sustainability is one thing on our mind. We're also ensuring the engagement of all the cluster heads of the community of persons with disability. The important thing about this whole thing is that it's designed in such a way that all of us in the community, leaders of the community, have taken ownership of this wonderful initiative. And we're going to drive it, whether Oloyede is there or not. But this is a huge legacy project for him, and he's passionate. You won't believe that throughout this week, he has followed me to every media house, promoting this whole initiative, And then on a final note, I was privileged to chair the very first committee of the Federal Ministry of Education that wrote the Inclusive Education Policy. And these things are enshrined in the Inclusive Education Policy then. And then, of course, last year we got some funding and helped Federal Ministry of Education, and we reviewed the policy, brought in some international experts and people from UNESCO, and we reviewed the policy and brought it up to speed, taking into consideration the emerging issues, emerging global trends in inclusive education. So it is there in the policy, and the policy is being implemented even though it's at a snail speed, but at least we're making some reasonable progress. And then, of course, with individuals like me and several others, we will not fold our hands and watch this beautiful baby that has been born dies.
Right. We can only hope and wait to see how this baby matures in the coming years to ensure that that inclusivity that we have been talking about becomes a reality at the end of the day, not just in education, but in every sector. We must thank you, Ishaq Oloyede, CEO, founder, TAF Africa, convener, Disability Inclusion Nigeria. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Please do me a favor and put all of this, because you guys are doing a tremendous, wonderful work.
All right.
And you do have followership. Please put it on your Twitter handle,
All right.
spread the information, and become one of our crusaders. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. You're welcome. All right. Now, still